Today I'm going to share with you my creation that I've called Maiden of the Sea or Gypsy of the Sea. It's my mermaid junk journal. Here's the cover. Tie closure, silk, sari silk, lots of vintage lace, lots of beads and sequins, bubbles, water pebbles, lots of fuzzy fur trim on the top, fiber trim, and a mermaid tail boho tassel with the most beautiful heart artisan bead in perfect mermaid colors. So I created a velvet cover and sewed 15 vintage buttons on the spine. I made it 2.5 inches and I should have made it 3 because it is enormous. And lots of jewels and charms and seashells and color hanging out the side and lace down the bottom, dangly lace. And the charms that I love to do. Super dangly, super elaborate. So let's discover what's inside. For the cover, I actually painted a piece of my Craftex. And I used the gorgeous colors from Prima that are mermaid colors. And then I had some cheesecloth that I layered onto it, painted over that. Some jute, large jute, and chipboard pieces that I painted, and the mermaid that I painted. And added some beaded trim down the bottom. And because it was bulky, I didn't want to put another eyelet in here for the closure. So I only did one on the back, and this one I just attached underneath the frame. So let me see if I have the dimensions for her. 8 by 5 3/4 inches, and the spine is actually 2 5/8 inches. 156 pages of gloriousness. All right, this tag features a lot of sequin trim, some ribbon, and a mermaid charm, and the beautiful fibers that look like seaweed. And I did this on the back of Craftex, just left it plain on the back. And the sequins do come off and they come out. That's okay, they can float around in there. I used digital images mostly from VectoriaDesigns, their mermaid kit. It's huge. And then I also got some from AdamoPrints and Poppiness. So most of this lace on here, almost all of it, is vintage lace. Some of it is new. For example, this trim here, you can get at Hobby Lobby. And of course the glitzy mermaid trim is new, but all the rest of it is vintage. Took up a lot of lace. So primary colors are teal, purple, a little bit of pink, a little bit of green, some tags, mermaid tags. I put a lot of sentiments and expressions in here. This one says, mermaids believe in magic, play in the waves, know how to weather a storm, see life's beauty, dive for their soul, ride the tides of life, know there are treasures in the deep. And I have a lot of mermaid stamps. And here's some of my die cuts with sequins, a couple of tiny tags, mermaid kisses and starfish wishes, and a little shell. Beautiful antique vintage lace. Just looks like a fishnet. So perfect. And these images, I believe, are from AdamoPrints, and I just used my Heartfelt Creations tag die. It's a 2-piece set, and did book page on the inside, and then just colored cardstock stamped on the back. Simple, but beautiful. And some blue parchment paper, which I love to use. And all of the tabs, I punched a hole and put an eyelet in there, and then a little bulb pin that has a seashell and a charm on each one. And that adds a lot of bulk. So if you take those all off, take all the ephemera out, it's easy for writing in. And these I got exactly from watching a lady, I think her name is Debbie from Kip's Corner. And what I did was I embossed it with clear embossing powder, but I did the Wing Castella first, and then just stitched around them and backed them with parchment paper. And here we've got a little belly band with some brass brads and a glassine bag. And I used some shimmer paper and just rubbed it with some Prima wax paste, if you are familiar with those. I even love the smell of them. It's gorgeous. And then I've got one more tag behind that with some blue coral. And it says Living a Mermaid Life with a squid. Yeah, all of these tags, I think there's 12 in this journal. They all have just a mermaid's tail on them, and I did the same process on each one of them. The images in this kit are just stunning, just beautiful. I tea-dyed a little index card and just put a tab on it and stamped it with some seashells on the back. All the pages are tea-dyed, except where they're white. Images were on the front. I did some stenciling on the back. And here's a tag I made from the kit. I used vertical paper and turned a few of them into tags. On the back it says, "My soul is full of longing for the secret of the sea, and the heart of the great ocean sends a thrilling pulse through me. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow." Beautiful. I make these little tag toppers out of a 2-inch round circle punch, and then I use a bracket punch for the sides, so it's the closest I can get to that infamous whale tab punch that's almost impossible to get, and that's fine. I'm happy with it. Improvise, why not? This vintage music, sheet music, the song is "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean." And lately I've been using a lot of wrapping paper because I love that craft color and the texture. This one says, "And to the ocean I go to lose my mind and find my soul." A little explanation of the mermaid dust. I've got a little bottle of it dangling down from the bottom. Here's another one of the tags from Poppiness with the mermaid's tail embossed, and just some mermaid paper with a lighthouse and a big wave stamped on the back. And here is the stitched slotted card that you can tuck all kinds of little tags into, but my trend lately has to just been making these really long tags and then just adorn the bottom with a large edge, paper edge punch. Stamp it with a seahorse and some glitzy fibers. And what I did for most of the pockets, I got this from the girl from Kip's Corner, was just to add some book page on the bottom and then just rip it. Just gives it more of an effect. Here's some simple tags stamped with seashells on the back. And this sentiment says, "Under the sea." My sweet little mermaid girl. And I used my dangly cotton lace trim to look like seaweed. And here's a little seashell bead and a little fish charm. And we've got some tags. This little booklet here has a fish stamped on the inside and just some embossed paper. And this one says, I must be a mermaid. I have no fear of depth and a great fear of shallow living on a East Nin. And a fish stamped on the back. And a pocket that I made just out of the paper from the kit. Some vellum. You can write notes all over the place. And this is just a flip up with lots of space for journaling. I just love this color. I thought it really blended well just for a change. It's still lavender, pink, burgundy, purple. So I thought it went very nicely with the theme. And here is some of the paper from that kit that I used just to make a tuck, side tuck. And here's one of the images of a mermaid calling. And the sentiment is, the sea is calling and I must go. Lots of space to journal on the back. Where there is inked edges, I use the Distress ink in Vintage Photo. Pretty typical. Love this image. Really beautiful colors. I just stamped it with a compass on the back. And here's some of my seaweed and sequins die cuts. And over this side I threaded some ribbon through a paper edge punch and some stenciling and a fishy stamp. Some more parchment paper. This tag is removable, so you've got lots of journal space there. The sentiments on this card says, mermaids don't lose sleep over the opinions of shrimps. And here's a scary looking dude that they've captured in their lair. Those sneaky mermaids. Just beautiful images. In the center of this signature, the first signature, I've got the mermaid dust magic bottle, some beads, and a mermaid's tail. More in a sort of navy to purple color, bit of green. I just love beads and charms. I love all of the bling and the dangly. Just so, gives so much character. And here we've got an envelope that I just made out of cardstock. Some die cuts, sequins on there, and then it's just lined paper inside for more writing. So all these things really do take up a lot of space or depth and dimension. And like I said, once you pull them all out, the book is like 2 inches thinner. It's just incredible how flat they lie and easy to write on. Here the little dangles are a blue charm and a seashell. And this page is for adults only. Sultry mermaids, beautiful images. I've just stamped it on the inside with mermaid's tail. Some stenciling, a fish stamp, and some crinkled seam binding threaded through the edge of the page. And this is from another cardstock book collection that I bought. Perfect images. The tails are and the bodies are all glittery and glitzy. Beautiful. And I just did some stenciling on there, and it says, be a mermaid and make waves. I just used some of the paper to make a side tuck. Some glitter paper for the die cuts and sequins. It's a little flip up. On this page I used some ombre sari silk, a vintage button that has anchors on it. There's 3 of them in the book. And this is one of the rubber stamps I've had for years. The quote, I just love it. Like a guardian angel, the lighthouse stands, sending out hope in the night. Like a faithful friend, reaching out a hand, bringing comfort, truth, and light. I just did some stenciling on there on parchment paper. And it can be journaled on the back, of course. The mermaid's tail. Another pocket with some dangly trim and a beautiful turquoise charm with a blue seashell. So gorgeous. And this pocket has these two tags in it. This one says Mermaid and a fish stamp on the back. This is actually from Artie Mae's foxglove kit. I use this a lot. This purple is just so beautiful. I thought it coordinated with the flourishes and everything. I thought it really went well with this project. And some beautiful trim from Sheila. A little flip up so you can write your notes underneath it. And here we've got a little girl mermaid. It says Mermaid Off Duty. Just some cute paper. And a beach ocean theme with shells on the back. Another one of these long tags. This one has the squid on the back. And it says creature. And this journaling card has an octopus stamped on the back. And a little seahorse charm and a beautiful royal blue shell bead. On the back of this I've put, always be yourself. Unless you can be a mermaid, then always be a mermaid. This is a flip out. The shell stamp there, and the sentiment says, the voice of the sea speaks to the soul. And a pretty pink sea glass piece with a pink shell. Kind of burgundy, actually. Sorry, mermaids only. Here's another beautiful piece of bling from Sheila. I had to put this in here. This page, I just love. This vintage lace is just so gorgeous. It's kind of like a taupey beige color. And so I got a champagne colored shell, little charm. And this image is just so beautiful. Simple, but really elegant. This one, the sentiment is surf, sunshine, beach, sand. And some stenciling on the back of it. And a few sequins. Some die cuts. A couple more tags. The mermaid and a fish stamped on there. And that's the first signature. On to the second. Beautiful vintage lace trim. This tag says, I need vitamin C. Just got a map on the back of it and some die cuts and fussy cut shell. And that one's got a cute little mermaid on the back. I love this trim. I think I got it from PurplePaperMountain. And if not, I don't know. It is silk. So there was one other place I may have gotten it from, but I used it quite a lot. I just love the texture of it. Here's another mermaid's tail, small tag. I just used one of the images as a belly band. Some sequins in this glitzy trim. Here we've got that same beautiful vintage lace with this image, mermaid vibes. And a beautiful fish stamped on the back. Another one of these belly band pages with a tag. Here's some of my shimmer paper. This one is in like a bronze color, and I rubbed it with rose gold Prima wax. Love it. Really cool but subtle effect, and just a stamped image. Long tag, and plenty of space to journal there. Some pretty charms, a purpley pinky opaly colored turtle, and actually on this side it's got a compass and an anchor. It's really cool. And a pretty seashell. Some more dangly trim, and here we've got a purple seashell and a starfish. Two more tags with the mermaid's tail, This one says, "We've got no troubles. Life is the bubbles under the sea." That's from The Little Mermaid. And a fish stamped on the back. And this page I did the bubble theme. So I've got a die cut that's bubbles to go with the bubble paper. This beautiful paper looks like waves, and it's textured and embossed. It's gorgeous. It just says ocean with a sand dollar stamped on the back and some flourish. That's the Tim Holtz stencil done in a kind of a monochromatic look in this greeny blue. I love that effect. A beautiful image. And this song is called Lightly Row. Some more wrapping paper, and the sentiment on this page is, it doesn't matter who believes in you as long as you believe in you. And here I've just done a little bit of a collage with some gold threaded cheesecloth, little tiny, I guess it's a crab, and a seashell. A couple of tags, mermaid's tail with seashells, and a little turtle stamped on the back. And this tag I've labeled as creature. It's got a seahorse on it. I got stuck on something. Beautiful purple. I love it. This one, the tags are a little mermaid and an anchor. And just some white, well, blue washed paper you can easily journal on the back of. The sea is calling. It's always calling. Flip out, turtle stamped on the back. Some vellum paper. And another side tuck that I've made. There's a bunch of sayings about the beach and the sea and just some stamping. I've got a series of Hawaiian stamps that I use that kind of, some of them fit in with this theme. And here we've got a collaging of some die cuts and the laced page edge with some stenciling on the back. And this little booklet, beautiful images. Swim with passion in the sea of life. And on this page at the bottom it says, life is like the ocean. It can be calm or still and rough or rigid, but in the end, it's always beautiful. And a mother pearl bead. Look at that charm. It's gorgeous. And this olive green opaly seashell. And we've got another envelope with some tags. And a mermaid writing sheet, note paper in there. And this is the middle of the second signature. We've got a seahorse and an anchor, or sorry, a wheel, and a starfish, and some shells, beads. Gorgeous. Love them. And here we've got a tuck under the lace with just a little embossed mermaid tag that I made using rainbow ink. I've had for a long time. Surprisingly, it's still wet enough to use. This sentiment says, rainbows and mermaids are proof that imagination and beauty go hand in hand. And we've got another fold over. Colors are beautiful. This one kind of has to do with hair. So I stamped on the back, ocean air, salty hair. And this one says, mermaid hair, don't care. So this edge has the seam binding run through it and the stenciling. And then on this side, I tried to kind of mirror this image a little bit and do some die cut and sequins. Those were fun. Got a side tuck here and it says Mermaid Squad. Beautiful image. And some border flowers up the side. Some vellum paper again, and another sari silk ruffle with the anchor vintage button. And I did a top tuck. This image says, or this tag says Mermaid Power. And I've done some stenciling as well. Just tucked under there. A couple of tags here. Mermaid paper with a mermaid on the back. This one is some coral reef with a lighthouse. And it says, the ocean's roar is music to the soul. This tag says mermaid, and it's got a cute little mermaid on the back. A couple of tags here with a mermaid's tail, some mermaid paper, and this beautiful image. And a coral reef die cut. Some more vintage sheet music, and another tuck with just some glitzy rainbow fish scales, mermaid scales, sorry. And an image of a mermaid stamped on the back. I love this vintage lace. This has to be one of my favorites. I sure hope I can get it again because it's a beautiful blush beige color. And I just used some sequins to coordinate with that. Ariel, listen to me. The human world is a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything they got up there. That's Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. Mermaids are real. Absolutely. A little rowboat. Just like fairies. Beautiful images. And here we've got purple charm and bead, shell bead. And this one we've got a beautiful image of this mermaid. She almost wished some fishermen might come into view. Oh, and there he is. Just embossed on my shimmer paper. Some sequins and beautiful fish and a mermaid emerald green seashell bead. Here's some space for taking notes. And a starfish stamp on the back with some glitzy fiber trim. And here we've just got a long tall tag, the stamp on the back, and this says Mermaid at Heart. Okay. These stamps are from Sprinkle and Sparkle, which has since gone out of business, unfortunately. I used to love taking Margaret's classes at the scrapbook expos. Learned so much from her about stamping. End of the second signature into the third. It's a tag that I made using the paper, backed onto parchment paper, and it says, advice from a mermaid. See the best in others, be enchanting, dive in, roll with the tide, come up for air, sing your song, don't get your seaweed in a bunch. Right? Yeah. Some die cuts. A little pocket there with some tiny tags stamped on the back. Another long tag that says ocean and a mermaid stamped on the back. Flip up the mermaid's tail. And the tab on this side has some blue sea glass and a beautiful blue shimmery shell bead. Here's another belly band over the glassine bag with a mermaid's tail. Some embossed shimmer paper with the wax rubbed on it. I don't know if you can see, this is kind of like a opally pink wax that I used on that one. And just another long tag with a turtle stamped on the bottom. Another dangly lace bottomed pocket with some coral charms and a gold seashell bead. There's another mermaid's tail and a fish. This one says, dive deep for the treasure that you seek. Some vellum paper, This sweet little young mermaid. Dream big, Little Mermaid, with some vintage lace pocket with the sequin on it. It's my daughter's dog. He insists on sitting on my chair in my craft room here with me. Vintage music, sheet music, and some more of the wrapping paper with die cuts and sequins. And this little story about the mermaid. And this one, I know the shell has come off. This little guy here. Got to replace it. And just a little tiny starfish charm. A couple of tags here, and this, I just made a round circle pocket out of some of the paper. Stamped. This one has this cute little trendy leaf, tropical leaf with a girl in a bikini. I think Joann's has them in their $1.99 bin. And some more of the paper. Another pocket at the top, tuck, some stamping, a shell and a starfish. And this tag I made again out of the, just out of the vertical paper from the kit. Tagged it with some topper using the fibers. She's a mermaid, but approach her with caution. Her mind swims at a depth most would drown in. J. Ironwood. Some parchment paper with a beautiful pearl charm and a blue dangly shell. And this is a fold over here on this side with a paper punch edge laced with seam binding. And this is a little booklet. Instead of cutting them apart, I just made booklets out of them above the images. And just stamped it with some shells on the inside. And this page says, be a mermaid, swim fast, wear a crown, dream big, rock your red hair. Right on. This is just a short flap of a page with a fold out. Some stamping and stenciling. And here's another envelope. The mermaids call for me, and to the sea I must go. Some stationery inside. Just made this envelope out of, you know, beautiful paper that we can find at dear old Hobby Lobby. Actually, I got that for my daughter's shower because it was the colors that we were using for her theme, galaxy kind of theme with alien babies. And this one just is a journaling tag or card with a seahorse stamped on the back. This beautiful lace and sequins down the side. A little map pocket with some tiny tags. Stamped some seashells on the back. I have a mermaid soul. And the other side of the page that has the seam binding laced through it. It's another booklet with some beautiful mermaids. And stamped with the shell beach scene on the back. And this page here, I did the bubble die cut and just put some images in here, shells and a mermaid tail. And this page, we got another sari silk ruffle, and this piece actually looked like it had coral in it, which was so cool. Another antique button and some sequins. And this tag is just a stamp of a rowboat and some stenciling. And these tag toppers, I just use a scalloped circle punch, paper punch, and fold it over on both sides, and it just gives it a cool look. I think I got that from Hermelinda Aguiar. The Mermaid's Lair. Catching a centaur. Those sneaky mermaids. A couple more tags here. I'm really a mermaid. And the anchor. I love this paper, kind of a sage green. This side down here has a little piece of blue sea glass bead and the mermaid green seashell. stamped image of a mermaid. This one says, "To the best fish in the sea." It's actually a gift tag, but I used it in here. And a tag with a map. Let's see what else is on the back. These two come together. Tie them together. Oh yeah, mermaid. And this one has a bulb pin on the side with a shell and some green opal shell bead. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free, wish I could be part of that world. That's from The Little Mermaid. Vintage book page. Music sheet, sorry. If mermaids wore gloves. That's advertising gloves, alrighty. And a mermaid tail stamped to the top. Flip up. Signs that you might be a mermaid. You drink like a fish. You play in the waves. You ride out the storm. You dance in the rain. You live so deep, life takes your breath away. And a little pocket with some greeny, bluey, turquoisey, sage green charm and shell bead. Mermaid's tail tag. This one says mermazing and a fish stamped on there. I love how you can see through the vellum. Looks dreamy. Keep sparkling. And this mermaid tag has a mermaid stamped on the back. This is the same image as on the cover, only it's larger. And has the coral paper on the back. And that beautiful, beautiful antique lace. It's almost all gone now. Last page in that journal. And it says, when mermaids sleep in oceans deep inside their cozy coral caves, they lay their heads on seaweed beds rocked by the ocean waves. With this beautiful purple glitzy fiber trim. And a mermaid stamped on the back with some stenciling. And a little bit of glittery die cuts and sequins. That's it. And this is the other tag that I made with some velvet, some fabric trim, the sequin trim, more velvet, and it's got a little anchor, blinged up anchor, and the seaweed looking fiber trim. And that's again done on the Craftex. And this, I just had to completely put in the back here because I love it. I am not like the other girls. How beautiful is that? In the Land of Elsewhere is the artist. And that's it. Thank you for watching and staying with me. Also, this tassel is removable, of course. Comes off very easily. And that is my Maiden of the Sea, Gypsy of the Sea, my mermaid journal. Thank you so much for watching.